Hi, it's Christina with the Sisyphean Journal. We actually have a happy anniversary today. But first, I want to note that I did link below to today's sad anniversaries. One is the last of 5 criminal abortion deaths attributed to Dr. Justin Mitchell, and the other is the 11th of 17 abortion deaths I know of at National Abortion Federation flagship Family Planning Associates Medical Group. So please do scroll down in the description and follow the links to learn about those women's deaths. But today we're going to look a little bit more about what's kind of good enough in abortion practice. Dr. Joseph Rucker launched straight into abortion practice after Roe v. Wade was handed down in '73. He set up an abortion clinic called Snowden Medical Associates in Detroit. His staff included an ex-convict, Eugene Ralph Mara, who had no medical training whatsoever but called himself Dr. Mike Morrison, and there's a lot of evidence that he was doing abortions at the clinic. And 1974 was a busy year for Dr. Rucker. The malpractice suits started rolling in. In 1974, Rucker performed an abortion on 21-year-old Corinne. He managed to shove the head of her 5 or 6 month fetus through a 4-inch hole in her uterus. And then he sent his hemorrhaging patient to Garden City Osteopathic Hospital, 23 miles away, in spite of the fact that there were properly equipped hospitals less than a mile from the clinic. And Corinne required an emergency hysterectomy. The Detroit Free Press investigated Rucker. They sent in a female reporter who had never been pregnant. Rucker told her she was 12 weeks pregnant and tried to sell her an abortion. When she asked how he could be so sure, he said, "If I said you were 12 weeks pregnant, you were 12 weeks pregnant. My fingers never make a mistake." We'll get back to that. Detroit Free Press reporters spoke to some of Rucker's patients. One had paid a $75 fee to a referral agency to get Rucker's name and address. She paid for a saline abortion that was performed by Dr. Mike Morrison, who again was Mara, the ex-con who had served prison time for breaking and entering, abortion, and conspiracy to commit abortion. A second woman said that Mara had performed a D&C on her. Now, Rucker insisted that Dr. Mike, who again was not a doctor, only performed pelvic exams. No big deal. He's letting some ex-con perform pelvic exams on women. He said that the women were far too doped up to know who it was that actually did their abortions. So much for the doctor-patient relationship we are told we need to respect when we embrace safe and legal abortion. And they were too doped up to know if it was this ex-con or an actual physician performing their abortion. So the Department of Health told Rucker to clean up his act. They noted that women undergoing saline abortions performed by Dr. Mike were staying overnight at the unlicensed clinic. Again, we've got a fake clinic here, passing itself off as a clinic, not licensed. When pro-lifers run fake clinics that hand out baby diapers, they are endangering women. But when Rucker runs a fake clinic with an ex-con doing saline abortions, that's fine. That's the good kind of fake clinic. When Dr. Mike performed the abortions, women were staying overnight in violation of law prohibiting overnight medical stays outside of hospitals. And the clinic was also cited for some plumbing and linen storage problems, overcrowding, and the absence of written medical policies. And then later that year, 21-year-old Nancy went to Rucker's clinic after 2 other doctors told her they could not do an abortion outside a hospital because she was nearly 6 months pregnant. Rucker performed the abortion and left the fetal head lodged in a tear in Nancy's uterus, and again sent her to Garden City Osteopathic, 23 miles away, even though there were 2 large, fully equipped hospitals within a mile of the clinic. The surgeons removed the baby's head and repaired the error. Now, the authorities are starting to take notice. In 1975, they charged Mara with practicing medicine without a license, and in '76, they charged Rucker with performing substandard medicine on Nancy, Corinne, and 3 other women hospitalized after botched abortions. Now, later that month, Mara was acquitted of practicing medicine without a license because all they had was the statements of these doped up patients. And the clinic documents did not show that Mara had been the one that perpetrated the abortions. So this place was already a hot mess in 1977 when 14-year-old Cecelia stepped in. She was 14 years old. She went to Women's Counseling Center in Detroit, and Dr. Rucker, whose fingers never make a mistake, examined her and said that she was about 14 weeks pregnant. So he started to perform a suction abortion on her, and she started to hemorrhage. Now, rather than call an ambulance, he had her loaded into a car and driven to Sinai Hospital. A doctor examined her and found that she was actually 7 months pregnant. So the doctor got the bleeding under control and sent Cecelia home, but she returned a few days later in labor, and on February 1st, she gave birth to a 2-pound, 11-ounce baby girl with a 2-inch piece of her scalp missing. Now, a spokesperson from Women's Counseling Center told the Detroit Free Press that they fired Rucker immediately after the incident. He was charged with performing an illegal abortion under a pre-Roe Michigan law that limited abortions to the first 3 months of pregnancy. Rucker waived a trial by jury, went before a judge, and he made 2 arguments. One is Roe struck this law down. I'm allowed to do any abortions I want to up until viability. And I didn't actually do an abortion anyway. So the court agreed that the law had been struck down, so there was no need to determine whether Rucker had actually attempted an abortion, since it would have been legal to do so anyway. And Cecelia attended the trial with her baby in her arms, and she told the Detroit Free Press that the little girl, who was then 9 months old, was still suffering ill effects from the attempted abortion. Cecelia said, "She's going blind in one eye, and I have to take her for therapy once a week on her leg." Pro-child, pro-choice, right? Tell that to Cecilia's little girl. Now, as for Rucker, he was disciplined by the medical board in order to take 50 hours of instruction in obstetrics and gynecology. And this action wasn't just related to Cecilia's abortion, but to other substandard care that he provided to abortion patients, resulting in hospitalizations and infections. Rucker's attorney challenged the action, and in the meantime, Rucker continued to commit malpractice, leading the board to finally revoke his license. He didn't take that lying down. His attorney kept fighting. The medical board would take action again. His attorney would fight it. The medical board would take action. This went on until 1984, when he declared bankruptcy and he vanished from the news. I haven't been able to see anything about him since. And as for Cecilia's baby, she vanished from the news after Rucker's trial. But today is her 48th birthday. Happy birthday, Cecilia's baby. I hope that you're thriving and doing well, that you got your vision back, that your legs are doing well. God bless you.